right, so we're still in Vicksburg, Mississippi, commemorating the 160th anniversary of the Siege of Vicksburg. And in the last episode, you saw us at a very cool battery and opening up kind of this siege and battle here around the Vicksburg, Mississippi area. Well, in this episode, we have continued our trek across the battlefield. We're currently standing on the Jackson Road. Now, why is this road important? Because this was the main road that ran to Jackson, Mississippi, the state capital. We're going to check out a couple of spots. The first being something called the Shirley House, which is one of the only remaining structures on the battlefield here at Vicksburg that was here during the battle. And how it survived beats me if you look behind me, because it's absolutely just astonishing, in my opinion, that this even survived. But let's check out the Shirley House and talk a little bit about the history of this home. Shirley home. This was built by a man by the name of Nicholas Gray in the 1830s, and it was purchased by James and Adeline Shirley. James Shirley was from New England, and he moved here with his wife Adeline Quincy, who was from Boston, and she was actually the great niece of John Hancock, the signer of the Declaration of Independence. So they moved here to Vicksburg, Mississippi from, up north. They were really Union sympathizers. They had to keep it low, but they were responsible for feeding a lot of information to General Grant. Again, this building is the only remaining building here on the battlefield at Vicksburg that is original. So, yeah, they were responsible for giving a lot of information to General Grant, which was very, very reliable and that they used. But the Federals call this the White House. This house, after the Battle of Vicksburg, was not able to be lived in. It was almost completely destroyed. But it has been since renovated in the 1900s. It was bought from Adeline, and, well, they restored it when they put a park in here. And there's some very cool photos of this house that we're going to check out. So we've walked a little ways down the road from the Shirley House. You can see it right behind me. And I want to give you a view of an original photo that was taken in this area of the Shirley farm. I want to kind of show you what it looks like now compared to then. But first, I want to show you this before I show you the photo. In this photo that was original, taken during wartime, you're going to see a lot of bomb proofs and things like that surrounding the home. But I kind of want to show you what it looks like today. I don't really think the camera's going to do it justice here. But if you look down here, there is a very, very deep ravine. I don't know if the camera's going to do it justice, but this is probably the approximate area where all these bomb proofs were. And it's a long ways down there. But let's take a look at this. If I film the home from this angle, you kind of get an idea of the approximate area of where all of this occurred with the photos of the bomb proofs. And here's that photo now to compare to what it looks like today. So in this location, man, it's hard to wrap your head around this, but it is still very cool to be able to stand in a little around the exact spot that photo was taken. And Wow. But to look down this ravine and see that, that's just cool. So we were talking about the Jackson Road, which runs right here all the way this way, how it goes straight to Jackson, Mississippi, and was a vital road for the Confederacy. And that they had readouts and redans and lumettes all kind of guarding this road. Well, this is the beginning of Logan's approach to the Confederate 3rd Louisiana redan. Work on this commenced May 26, 1863, and charge was Captain A. Hickenlooper, who is the chief engineer of the 17th Corps. And this extends down this road and actually across the road a little bit too. And if you look right behind the Shirley House here, well, you've got a monument to Illinois troops there. And then, of course, that would be Mr. Ulysses S. Grant, the commander here at the siege of Vicksburg. And that towering structure in the background is the monument to the Illinois troops who served here at the siege of Vicksburg. Why is their monument so big? Well, that's because the Illinois men had most of the Union Army that was, you know, fighting here in Vicksburg. So they deserve a big monument, right? Right. Well, also this monument is not only an ode to the men who served here, Ulysses S. Grant, the commander, but also to Abraham Lincoln, Old Abe. So we're going to go check out the Illinois monument, show you a little bit of some cool hidden history in there, tell you a little bit about some things you probably didn't know is in there, and then we're going to continue to the next episode. So as we make our way to the Illinois monument, why did they have such a towering and huge monument here at the siege of Vicksburg National Battlefield? Well, that is because most of the Union Army that fought here during the siege of Vicksburg were from Illinois, including Grant himself. We're going to walk in here. We're going to show you a couple of hidden gems inside of this monument. And to be honest with you, there's someone's name in here that's going to surprise you on this wall. And it's Ulysses S. Grant's son, who's only like a teenager. Why is his name in there? We'll talk about it in a minute. So as we stand here and we look at the outside of the Illinois monument, there's a couple of things I want to point out. First of all, this was built in 1906 at the cost of $190,000. In today's money, that equates to $4.6 million. So as we're approaching the Illinois monument here from the front, I want to point out a couple of things. One, the eagle on the top. Two, you have Cleo, who's in the middle here, the lady in the middle. She's the muse of history, and she's flanked by two maidens. And that is a classic Greek architectural style. But this is a ode to and dedication to all the Illinois troops, including Grant himself and Abraham Lincoln. So let's go in and take a look at what's inside of here. So as we walk inside of the Illinois monument, you'll see the state of Illinois seal on the floor. And it is very echoey here as you have a vaulted ceiling. If you look up, well, it makes you kind of dizzy if you go round and round especially. But along the walls here inside are the names of all the commanders here from Illinois that took place here at the siege of Vicksburg. And then on the wall, below them, you have the staff and all of the men who fought and died here at the siege of Vicksburg. Now, there's one name in particular on here. I'm going to look for it, see if I can find it, but it's going to shock you whose name is here. So if you look right here, you see the name up under staff of General Grant, Army of Tennessee, headquarters of U.S. General Grant, the name Frederick D. Grant, aide. Who was that? Well, that was Grant's pre-teenage son. He had traveled with him here to Vicksburg and became his aide. And could you imagine being 12, 13, 14 years old in the middle of a siege? So his father commanded. Well, that's what happened. There's a lot of other cool stories and names in here. We don't have time to go over them, but pretty neat to check this place out. All right, so as you can tell, it's a little humid here in Mississippi this time of year. And that's another thing I want to talk about briefly before we get out of here is the struggles that the guys had to go through that were fighting here. The Union Army started their advance into Vicksburg really in the spring of 1862. And during the winter, they were digging canals, they were fighting snakes, they were fighting alligators, they were fighting cold weather, being wet and miserable all the time. And a lot of the soldiers, well, they didn't even make it to the battle or in order to be killed here because they died from disease and a lot of other things along the way. So yeah, it was a very hard time those Union guys experienced trying to get here to siege Vicksburg. But and it's something that not a lot of people think about when they think about the siege of Vicksburg. I'll tell you what, it's hot. Hot, 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 hot. So that was a little bit about the Illinois Monument and the Shirley House. We're going to continue this series in the next episode of History Saver 1941 from where we're standing right now. So make sure you tune in, and it's going to be a very cool episode you do not want to miss. Till next time, keep preserving history. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.